G'day cheeky dogs, my name's Margie and I'm an Australian currently living in America. And today's video is going to be focusing on why adults with no children want to watch Bluey, why they love Bluey, what is it about this show that's predominantly meant to be for little kids or parents with little kids, finding some sort of connection with people who don't have children. This is actually a two-part video. I've already done a section on why children and teenagers, so ages of 12 to 18, love Bluey and what is it specifically about that demographic that finds Bluey so interesting. So if you haven't seen that, make sure you go and check it out. But if you're interested in finding out why adults with no children also love this show, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Assumedly, why would they even find Bluey in the first place if they didn't have kids? And again, this is really, really fascinating. A lot of the time it's been the algorithm from either YouTube or TikTok has pushed it into their For You page, and all of a sudden they've been like, oh, this is interesting, what is it? I was fascinated that some of you guys had even mentioned that one of my videos was the first one that you had watched, and that made you interested in seeing the show. One of you mentioned that you found it from the gym. You saw it was playing in the daycare center, and you're like, hey, this actually looks really cool, I'll check it out at home. I think it's just so interesting how people found it as well. But again, let's look at the top reasons why adults with no children are watching this. And like I said before, another top reason is it's therapeutic. It is healing their inner child. It is helping them get through traumatic experiences that they had in childhood, not great family situations, toxic households, and quite a number of you mentioned that Bandit for you was a really great father figure or role model that maybe you didn't have in life, and one that you could see and understand that, yeah, that's what a father should be like.
If I've ever hurt your feelings, I'm really sorry, mate. Must feel really bad when your dad does that. Just know that I love you, kid, and I'd do anything for you.
Again, something so incredibly unique, I think, with Bluey. A big one, though, after that was the nostalgia. How many people felt like it was like reliving your childhood again? You could remember playing the games that they play in Bluey. And yeah, this one definitely hit for me. I absolutely agree. It reminds me so much of just doing that imaginative play of as a child. And yeah, it's really lovely to see that happening as well and remembering those and being like, oh yeah. And for me as a parent, oh yeah, it's something I can play with my kid. But just for people in general, it just bringing back those childhood memories can just make you feel warm and fuzzy inside. Another top two reasons as well from the adults with no kids was that, again, it doesn't talk down to the audience, it doesn't belittle them, it has adult conversations, it's just general life talking, it's real situations, real chats. That was a big one. And of course, the hidden or darker topics or more adult themes that come in through a lot of the episodes that a lot of younger television shows don't really touch on. I mean, when's the last time you saw Peppa Pig really talk about death? Whereas Bluey had a whole episode about that with Copycat. When's the last time you saw a children's show talk about child abandonment issues? I don't know, but Space in Bluey in season 3 does. And of course, onesies. When's the last time a children's show talked about infertility issues?
But she can't have it, and there's not really anything anyone can do.
Why can't she just have the thing she wants?
Because it's not meant to be.
I have no idea, but Onesies tackled it in such a beautiful way where it was digestible. And that was something that you guys had also mentioned. The fact that so many of these darker topics were brought up and discussed, but in a really digestible manner. So that it was easy. It wasn't really weighing you down. It wasn't making you stressed. It wasn't making you, well, yes, it makes us a little bit sad, but it doesn't make you like super, super, super upset to the point where you can't watch Bluey anymore. It just helps you work through those ideas. And again, a lot of you cheeky dogs even said that as adults, you felt like you could relate to a lot of the characters, both the children from your childhood experiences, but the adults as well. It was helping you work through a lot of the trauma, whether it is from feeling abandoned as a child, being left out, like in the episode Butterflies, or even just how to have a healthy relationship with other adults and how to solve a lot of issues and problems without fighting or yelling at each other, which again, I think is a really beautiful thing that Bluey does. You never really see the parents or the adults yelling angrily at each other. You see them disagreeing, yes, but they talk it out, they solve it, and usually they try to solve it in front of the kids as well so they can see a healthy way of how to solve problems. Another really interesting thing that a lot of you mentioned was the fact that the life lessons it taught you were things that you weren't taught as a child or as a teenager. So a lot of the lessons about how to react and respond to situations, how to express your emotions, some things that you just felt like you hadn't actually been taught before, whether it was from teachers or parents, but the show instead taught you new ways of doing that. And I totally agree with that. For me, I remember the episode Wagon Ride was one of the first ones where I felt like I was really learning something about how to respond to other people when they're talking in situations as a child, things like that. And I remember not learning that as a kid. You would just bug your parents until eventually they answered you, and usually it was in an angry way. So I feel like, yeah, there's a lot of things that you can learn from this show as well. Now, as I mentioned, with our younger under 18 audience, there was a lot of people who were talking about neurodivergence and how the show was helping them. And again, same thing as well with our older audience. But even more of a spectrum, I guess. People were talking about how they have PTSD, dyslexia, ADHD, autism, child regression syndrome, things like that, and how the show, again, was helping them to understand their emotions, regulate their emotions, and something that was just very comforting and easy for them to watch to help de-stress. And while some of you might have found it through, say, your For You pages with random videos like mine or on TikTok, a lot of you, though, said that you found it through nephews, nieces, work, like speech therapists, babysitting, things like that. But not only did you find it through that way, you were able to bond with these younger children in your life through Bluey. It gave you something to talk about, something to bond over and chat with. And again, super beautiful that Bluey is helping create bonds and connections both within personal family lives as well as workplace situations where speech therapists say work with children. Or one of you said you even worked at Disney and it was helping you talk to little kids that way. Again, something incredibly beautiful. And even though the focus for this was adults who have no kids, and some of you mentioned that you just were not ready for kids yet, that you were younger. A lot of you mentioned though that you were older and had no plans for kids. It was still really fascinating the amount of you who commented about how much parenting advice you were getting from Bluey and how it kind of made you look forward to the idea of having kids or feel like you could have kids and you would know what to do now because of this show. And this is something that I totally agree with and that I have talked about before, is the fact that Bluey is a perfect parenting guide. It shows you that yes, parents aren't always perfect, but it is a great idea for games, how to interact with children, if you get into any of those difficult situations, how you can talk about it with kids as well. So I found that so fascinating that it was giving people inspiration to be able to have kids, which again, something beautiful. You can see where I'm going with this, right? Now, some of the other top reasons are, and I'm going to read my notes out so I don't forget these. You loved that it didn't have a repetitive formula. You loved learning about Australia. Yay! That's like the whole focus of my videos half the time. The art style and the music, it made you laugh, it made you cry. It was an amazing slice of life. You just love dogs in general. So I thought that was really cool. There's not a lot of mention about loving dogs with Bluey, because I think a lot of the time we forget that they're dogs and they just act so much like humans that, yeah, we kind of forget that aspect of the show, which I think is really interesting. But also one of the other ones was you loved the references and the Easter eggs, which is why I even started doing Bluey in the first place, because I knew that there was a bunch in there that maybe you cheeky dogs didn't know about. Also, can you spot the Easter eggs in the background of my video, my Chattermax and Long Dogs? But I love that. I love that there were just so many different reasons why people loved Bluey that were outside of the target demographic, and that a lot of those reasons also overlapped. It didn't matter about age. People were loving Bluey for a lot of the same reasons, and I think that is incredible. So, my overall thoughts and feelings on this. Animation is something that can be loved by literally everyone. And I do find it really interesting that some people had mentioned that when it was a teacher who had shown Bluey to their class, everyone loved it and accepted it. But when it was just sort of a child to another child saying that they loved Bluey, it seemed like more chance for the bullying situation to happen. And again, I think that's one of those things where it shows you when it's an adult telling you that something's okay, everyone's like, oh yeah, it's okay. So, as an adult, I am saying that it is okay to love Bluey. It is incredible. It is for everyone. It is amazing. I really hope that, yeah, Bluey does help heal your inner child or just helps you make you feel happy when you're sad. And this honestly has inspired me to try and find more of those kind of slice of life shows that maybe can also help in that situation and that I can share with you guys. I watch a lot of anime. Recently, there's one called Kimi no Todoke on Netflix, and it is beautiful. It made me cry the other day, and it is a slice of life, kind of that middle school to high school kind of situation of someone being left out and how one person can really change that and make someone not feel so lonely. So I want to try and cover that more this year. I want to try and show you guys that Bluey, whilst is an amazing show, is not the only one. There are lots of other really amazing animation out there as well that can also help you in that kind of situation. But cheeky dogs, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it makes you feel less alone in your love for Bluey. Please let me know in that comment section down below why you love Bluey and why it means so much to you, because I think it's really important to spread that positivity around and show that, yeah, it's not just for young toddlers and it's not just for parents either. It can literally be for anyone who has experienced childhood, who is going through life with any difficulties and needs something to make them feel happy when they are sad. Anyway, cheeky dogs, I love you all so much. I have picked you out a few other videos that maybe you would like to watch, but until then, I will see you in another video. Mwah! Bye!